Hey everybody, welcome back to HMC Med Kitchen with Dr. Williams. I'm Dr. Mike and I'm glad you're here joining me cooking today. Today we're going to be making fudgy black bean brownies. I think you'll find this recipe interesting and a little different than what you're used to. Let's get started. We have some chocolate chips, semi-sweet. We have black beans. We have some oatmeal. We have some canola oil and some sweetener. I'm using some agave sweetener, but you can use syrup or honey or any other type of sweetener that you like. And then lastly, some cocoa, and then also a little bit of vanilla. So first thing I'm going to do is I need to melt my chocolate chips. And I think the easiest way to do that, if you're careful, is to do that in the microwave. So I'm going to stick this half cup of chocolate chips in the microwave for just a minute or so, and we'll see how it does. Next, I've already done this, but this is some oatmeal that I've ground up in my blender. This is my trusty Vitamix, one of my favorite tools in the kitchen, but any blender or food processor can do this. And so I like to have a very fine oatmeal flour for this. And so I took some quick oats, about a half a cup, and ground those up in the blender. Next, we're going to take our black beans and put those in a blender and pulverize them. So here we go. This is 1 can of black beans. And we're just going to put the top on our blender and give those a little blend. All right, that's pretty good. We don't want bits of black beans in our brownies, so we want those to be blended really well. Let me check those chocolate chips and see how they're doing. I think the key to doing chocolate chips in the microwave is not to overdo it. We don't want to burn our chocolate. We just want these melted. So just a minute and they're getting pretty good. I think they'll finish melting as we stir them up. All right, so now we're just going to add our other ingredients to the blender and blend that all together. So we have our black beans in there. This is a 1/4 cup of canola oil. A half a cup of, like I said, I'm using agave. Three tablespoons of cocoa powder. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. And just about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. 2 pinches, and this is a half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're going to add our chocolate in there as well. If you're like me, you want to get all the chocolate. Good. Now let's blend all that together. All right, so we're going to empty our chocolate mixture into a bowl, and then we'll fold that oat flour into the bowl of our chocolate mixture. So we'll add our flour, oat flour. Again, we're getting some whole grains with that oat flour as opposed to just regular white wheat flour. That looks great. Now we're just going to add those to a muffin tin that I've greased, and they'll be ready to go into the oven. We want to fill these about halfway, and this will make around 10, depending on how generous you are with each one. I think I'm going to make 8 today. All right, I think those are ready. Have our oven preheated and ready to go. We'll stick those in. Now I'm like most of you out there, I like a good brownie, but I want some enhancement to my brownie. So let me show you how I do a raspberry sauce. Again, very quick and easy. Just some fresh raspberries into a pan, and I like to mash those up a little bit. I just use a simple potato masher. That looks good. And to that, I'm going to add just maybe a teaspoon and a half of honey, just to give it a little sweetness. Doesn't need much with those raspberries. And then I'm going to add just about a teaspoon or so of cornstarch, just to thicken that a little bit. And that's pretty much all there is to it. We're just going to let that cook for, maybe 5 minutes or so. And we might add a little water if it's too thick, but that will be tasty on top of a brownie. To that brownie, we've added just a small scoop of ice cream and some raspberry sauce. This comes in at about 250 calories total. Not too bad for a dessert. We don't eat desserts every day, but when we have desserts, we like to make them healthy, and that's what this Fudgy black bean brownie does. Thank you for joining us at HMC Med Kitchen today. Look forward to seeing you next time.